Welcome to Mommy Mia Media, a podcast by moms for moms.
Hey guys, welcome back to Mommy Mia Media. First and foremost, we want to kick off today's episode just to say thank you for your guys' support. If you haven't done so already, please remember to like, follow, share, and subscribe. Some milestones. We're going to be talking about a few milestones today, but just wanted to kick it off with saying thank you for 100 views on YouTube for episode 1. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Whoop whoop.
I know. I couldn't believe it, to be honest.
I know. If we can get to 5,000 subscribers, though,
I know.
you get that mini cow.
I know. And I think
I don't know if you guys can tell, for those of you guys who are watching on YouTube, there is a barn behind us that needs to be eventually rebuilt so you can put your mini cow in it.
Yes.
But we are actually at Lindsay's today.
My husband's starting to sweat because of that when he saw how many subscribers we had. He's like, nope, I never said it. I never said okay. I'm like,
well, subscribers on, like, YouTube is different than subscribers elsewhere.
Yes.
So,
he's got a little time.
He has a little bit of time. But if this catches on, he's going to love having a mini cow. We'll post pictures of him just with his smile.
It'll be the same look I get when I brought home the chickens.
Hey, I mean, but
And
he
the
grows
dogs.
to love all of the animals.
And my friends.
And people. How do you think our relationship came to be? We have a love-hate relationship. But we are working towards a goal of having 5,000 subscribers to get that mini cow. We talked about that in episode 4, maybe?
I believe so.
Episode 3 or 4.
Yeah.
But we did actually talk about how last week we had dabbled with TikTok. That day we actually made a TikTok, just a reaction. So shout out to @Tay for her video. But that actually got us quite a few followers on TikTok. So celebrating 3,000 followers there and over 2.5 million views of that video. Which, I mean,
wild.
I think we've all felt that way as moms, though. Like, there's times, whether you're a working mom or a stay-at-home mom, like, the video was just, whoever thought that we as women should work, why? And it was, I think, satirical. I don't think that it was a genuine moment. But at the same time, I think we've all been there. Like, even as a mom, there's times where, like,
I've done
why?
both, so I can speak to both sides of it, and regardless, you're still tired at the end of the day, regardless.
We're just getting old, people, okay? We're just tired. It's
job too, so.
I remember when we were kids, you'd go out or, high school, you'd sleep till noon. You know what I mean?
I miss those days.
I do too, but you'd stay up and be able to party all night, or even in your 20s, you'd be able to go to work and... I mean, I
used to be out all night and then get up literally at 4 o'clock in the morning and go to work. And not just go to work, but do well at work.
You're like, I might have been slightly drunk still, but I performed.
No, I just ran on a lack of sleep. Like, it wasn't even that I was doing anything fun after hours. It was just half the time I'm an insomniac. So it's like, but I just miss being able to run on a lack of sleep. Now it's like, I gotta have 8 hours. If I don't have that, bad news.
Yeah, as kids, we used to make fun of our parents. Like, why are you going to bed at, 10 o'clock?
Right.
Gosh, now I'm like,
Because I don't stop all day.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we all are tired and everything, but I think that's important that we make time for, seeing friends and family. And, today I decided to drive out to Lindsay's house. She's a little bit more rural than I am. I'm more suburb based, but
You're more of a people person than I am.
it depends on the people.
I didn't say you were a people person. I just said more of.
More of. All right, guys, we're back. We had to take a brief pause. The kids were actually coming up on their on the four-wheeler, so it got a little bit loud, and now things are a little bit more settled. As
Baby wanted a snack.
Yeah, she obviously is out of her little outfit. We're gonna be putting
She is
her...
at Aunt Lynn's. Around here, we do things differently.
I mean, it's really warm out today, and she was kind of sweathead from
Say clothes
sleeping.
optional on the porch if you're a baby.
Feel
like I had to
please don't come
specify.
over and think that you can just chill here nude. It's
Unless your name is on the deed, you don't get that privilege.
right. We were just talking about making time. Our kids are actually playing right now. Lindsay is able to have lots of activities for the kids to do. So they love coming to Aunt Lynn's, especially my daughter, because Aunt Lynn's lets her get away with murder.
To an extent. But she's a good girl, so I don't have to worry about it too much. But they do have fun. That's the best part about living out where we do, is just kids are fighting inside, send them outside, they'll find something to do, and if not, they'll just fight outside, but it won't be around me here.
Love coming out here. It's almost like an escape from
It is.
the hustle and bustle of that the city provides. And for those who live in the country, I think that they understand. Those who live in the city, if you haven't experienced that, try to find that in life, at least at some point. Like,
It's just a visit.
yeah, I definitely think that like having that rest and relaxation is essential for your own sanity. So
The biggest thing for us was that it disconnects us for the most part, which allows us to then be more active and aware in our relationships with one another, because we don't have the best Wi-Fi. We don't have the best phone signals out here. And now, are we cut off completely? No, we do. Like, my kid can still play games, but it's to an extent. It's not all the time, because we too run on like a metered network basically, because it is rural and we go on satellite. So they are forced to play with us and hang out with us and use their imagination to find things to do outside. And that's truly why we decided to move here, was because we knew that, and that's what we needed for them. Cause that's kind of how I was raised. I was a latchkey kid. Go outside and play. Come home later.
right. Well, I think it's just 90s kids in general. You know, growing up in the 90s, and I think that's why it's coming back. Like, you just can't like relive what the 90s were or the 80s were. I mean, going out and playing from the time you got home from school or during the summer, from the time the sun came up to you didn't have to be home until the street lights came on. I mean, that's just how it was. Like,
yeah, it was fun though, and it was safer. I feel like too, maybe.
I think
or
that
we
with
just didn't
social
know about
media,
it.
it just has blown up where you get news so much more readily available. Like, you have it more readily available.
Right.
But amazing how quickly we can connect though too. So, but I feel like with a lot of connection, one of the things that today's society lacks that you didn't have in the 90s is that connection. Because I feel like there's a lot of fake connection, right, out there.
Right.
And it's easy to like network with people, if that makes sense, as opposed to actually having a relationship with somebody.
Right.
Like, it takes
people
effort.
Or acquaintances.
Right. It takes effort. And I'm not saying that. I think that's why as you age, it gets a little bit harder. You know what I mean? To not only make friends, but to keep friends as well.
Yeah.
Because, with kids, you get busy, right?
Just finding time. The days run into each other. And I think just, especially in the summer, every day is just literally going into, like, it's the same routines all day long, which there isn't one. And so the kids are just always hungry and need to be entertained, and trying to balance having them home, working, doing stuff out here.
You were just saying you feel like you're overfeeding your kids.
I am overfeeding them, yes. I am
not overfeeding them, but overfeeding them.
I am so tired of having to figure out what the heck we're having for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, because I'm home with them all day long in the summertime. And I love it. It's great. I'm so blessed because I've done the whole traveling every other week for work and not being home. And now I actually get an opportunity to be home with them, so I don't take that for granted. However, these kids are always hungry, and I always have to figure something out. And the one thing about living out here is there is no DoorDash. There's no convenience. So if you're hungry, I have to make something, they have to make something, and then there's always dishes and whatever else comes with it. It's a feat.
Okay, hear me out. This is something I actually was just reading about the other day. So, for those of you who haven't heard of it, there's something called Chat GPT out there. It's an AI-based, like, chat tool, okay? And basically, you type in a command or whatever, and it generates an artificially generated response according to what your question was. I was reading that people are raving because you can literally tell it to make a meal plan for you for the week based off of ingredients in your cabinet. Or
Stop.
oh wait, it gets better.
Stop.
There's also, you can say, hey, I have ground beef, and put like 2-3 other ingredients. Like say you have ground beef and cheese and noodles and whatever. It'll spit out different things that you can make with those like ingredients. Or if you only have,
there we go.
if you have ground beef and you're like, I don't know what to make with it, it'll give you recommendations.
Heck yeah. See, meanwhile, who's hungry for some milk?
She is always hungry. She is probably.
Oh, is that funny?
She probably is very happy now. So.
Yeah, you throw up all over Aunt Lynn's now. You're funny.
Yep.
You're funny. Sorry, ADD, but she's just too cute.
Her little smile.
She's so active and she's so like she's mimicking, I noticed, with you, and how her eyes like follow you when you're in the room.
Oh yeah.
She is so alert and she's growing.
I know, that's actually, so we talked about, we were going to discuss milestones, so she actually is 3 months now, and I'm just, like, super, like, sad. Like, where has the time gone? It does not feel like it has been 3 months.
Jiminy Christmas.
I know, she's gotten chunky. Not chunky, chunky.
She is sweet.
I love her little cheeks. I was just actually looking
at Lynn's, I'll overfeed you too.
at a few of the pictures that I have, and basically, so yesterday she rolled over for the first time. I had her, we were doing tummy time, and she has a really good, strong neck. Like, she'll sit there and hold herself up and look around. We have a little play mat, and I love it. One of Casey's coworkers bought it for us, and it has like this little light up piano base, and you can sit there and you can like kick it, or you can, you can push it and it will light up and everything at this stage for her, and she just loves watching that thing. But she's sitting there and she just kind of scooted her way over and flipped herself over and was just laying there like, okay.
She just needed the inspiration, the motivation to do it.
I guess, and at first I thought it was a fluke, so I put her back on her stomach and she did it again. So I was like, okay, well, it's not just a fluke. Right. She is getting to that stage, which I'm excited, but I'm also like, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so crazy. And then
meanwhile, our preteens are out there just hanging out.
I know. Meanwhile, like, this one's already turning into a toddler, and that one's turning into a teenager. I'm not going to know what to do with myself.
They're out there, like, making everything a competition.
I know. She doesn't seem like she's very competitive at times, but she really is.
I think it's just when they're together.
Maybe.
It's their way of, like, flirting.
I don't know. It's like that awkward stage where, like, they're friends. Yeah. But, like,
they both act very extra in front of each other.
Yeah. I don't think that it's necessarily, like, I think that it's just, like, you get it. You have friends that are males.
Right.
So it's, like, you go through those phases. Sometimes, like, one of you at some point might have a crush on the other, and it's just not the right timing. And even if it does become the right timing, by that point, it's awkward.
Right.
Like.
Yeah. And the other thing that I learned with, like, having friends, too, is, like, I never want to embarrass them. Like, Ian will make like little comments sometimes, like just kind of like ragging on them because they're friends, and I never like to do that just because I remember what it felt like, and it was embarrassing. Like, you don't need to be pointing out that we're friends, so does it matter?
I mean, and sometimes friends do turn into more. I mean,
Right.
Casey was. I
But
tried
they're
to
too
friend
young to
zone
figure it
him.
out right
I
now.
tried hard to friend zone Casey, but it just didn't happen.
Are you feeling better over here?
She's like, maybe. I'm thinking about
I
it.
think she's blowing up her diaper.
She might be. She might be brewing something in those pants.
My
But
goodness, you smell.
yep, that might be it.
My goodness.
So that's what happens.
And we have cows in the field over there. Girl.
She was sitting there, and the other day, it was just like, you could tell she was working on something. She got real red, and then it just stunk really bad. And she was just like,
Oh.
yeah, I mean, I feel better, but I need attention. So I changed her, and after the fact, she was all smiles. That's kind of another one of her milestones right now. She loves laughing. Like, well, she's not really laughing. She's not to that point yet, but like she's has giggled and she's trying to laugh. Like, she has the Sheldon Cooper laugh. Did you ever watch Big Bang Theory? Okay, so you know how he's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like he lightly chuckles to himself. That's how it was. And I just think that's really cute. But she is starting to try to actively like coo and laugh. She is getting to an age too where I can't just like hold her like you are right now. Right now she's being very good on camera, but
for her antlins.
It must be an antlin thing. But with Casey the other day, he had her and I think he was watching TV, or maybe he was playing a video game, or I can't remember what he was doing, but he was holding her on the couch and he was sitting, still.
Yeah.
And she's like, not about that anymore. She's like, look, I can actually see my surroundings, and there's more to life than this couch. Like, get up, I want to see the world, and all it has to provide. So it's kind of funny. So we'll like face her outwards when we're walking around or rocking her, and that's what she prefers right now.
She's all alert. You like it out here. You get to be naked. Yeah.
She does like to be naked. Actually, the other thing that was a first for her today was her getting in the pool.
I'm so excited that I got to be a part of that.
I know.
Like, that is a core memory for me right there.
It's just awesome. Like, she actually is pretty good in the bathtub, like I said. Like, she loves baths, but
she loved her swimming.
She did enjoy the pool tonight. So, I'm kind of glad. I'm hoping that she's really good when we go on vacation in October.
Oh, she'll probably have a lot of fun.
I'm hoping.
She'll be at that like real fun age where they like to splash and all that. So.
She'll probably, I'm hoping, be sitting up and everything.
Yeah.
And so we'll see. But I can't believe. I mean, she's already 3 months, but I'm also like, I feel like it just turned July and it's already halfway through the month. Like, I blinked and we're halfway through July.
June literally was a flash for me. I have no like memory of June. It flew by. July is going the same way, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
I can't believe it. Like, I was actually looking at my social calendar and I'm like, what do I have going on? And I'm like, I went grocery shopping the other day and they have back to school stuff on the shelves. And I'm like, are we really that close? And I'm like, I don't even want to talk to Nat about that. She'll be like, why are you talking to me about this? But I'm
right. Like, we don't say that during summer, Mom.
Right. But then I'm like, oh my gosh, we are about a month away. My kids go back in like mid to late August-ish. So I'm like, I can't believe she'll be like going back to school shortly, and I'll only have the baby to worry about, and hopefully she'll be in daycare. Like I said, there was a huge I mean, there's a huge shortage, I think, of childcare workers in the industry right now. But because of that, there's also a wait list because you can't overload one person.
Yeah.
So hopefully we should be getting a daycare opened up.
Lindsay will just come and pick her up in the mornings.
Oh yeah, spend all day with her.
I mean, why not? My dog used to do it. I could do it with a baby.
It's a drive for you, though. For those of you who don't know, me and Lindsay, like we talked about making time for friendship. It's an hour drive for either of us to come out to each other's place. But, I mean, this is our time to essentially play catch up. And
it is. That's why we end up on tangents and everything else.
Yep, and it requires some labor of love to edit some of the things out when we go on our tangents. So, bear with us.
Or not edit out. Say that you're going to edit it out and then it stays in.
Okay, so if you have actually been actively watching each video, you will notice there are some times that, I mean,
we've said from the start, we are not AV people.
Hey, we are very authentic in what we say.
You get what you get.
And you don't throw a fit if you don't like it. You know, I mean, you don't have to watch, but we hope that you do. Let's be friends.
Yeah.
But just looking at this, like, I was just thinking about school shopping, though, because it's like, you know, I mentioned it to Casey, and he's like, why are you even thinking about that? And I'm like, because somebody has to, because it's like, before I know it, like, I'm going to have to be buying not only school, like, supplies, but also, like, any kid, she needs new clothes. And I hate shopping
because
for
they
clothes.
Grow every year. And so if it's not a, like, second child or a little, you know, like, where they can get some hand-me-downs, like, I have to buy Gabe new stuff all the time because there's no one else in the family that has grown out of things to give him, so.
Well, and that's how Natalie is. Natalie, like, there isn't, like, somebody who's above her.
Yeah.
So I have to buy all of her stuff new. I mean, now, mind you, we'll go to the thrift store. She likes to kind of shop around, find those, like,
girl
cute
after
diamond in the roughs, or we have went to several yard sales. I love yard sailing. For those of you who don't know me, I love yard sailing or antiquing or thrifting.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot of fun for me. But in addition to that, we also will have to go to, you know, get clothes, and she's all about, like, the name brand stuff now, which makes it a little bit more challenging because it's like, of course I show her things too, and I'm like, what about this? This is cute. And she's like, nah. I'm like, oh, okay. I got to that not so cool, but like, I'm like, you like all the stuff that I like you're, you know, because the 90s are back in, so I'm like, I'm hip now, and she's like, no, you're not.
Keep trying, Mom.
I know, and I'm like, but I'm cool. But
for boys, it's a lot easier. I don't have to take them shopping. Well, Lawson just inherits whatever Gabe has grown out of. Gabe, though, I actually have to shop for him, but he's in this thing now where it's like he doesn't want childish clothes. He's like, I don't want them to have anything on it. Like, I just rather wear, like, a plain t-shirt and, like, basketball shorts. And I'm like, yeah, but these shirts are cute. He's like, no. T-shirt, basketball shorts. I'm like, that's easy enough.
Well, and for girls, it's different. So, and I don't know, when I was growing up, first and foremost, it really didn't really matter until I got to high school about, like, clothing and stuff. I went to a Catholic school where we wore uniforms. And when I transitioned to a public school, that's when it became, like, important on what I wore, but I was more about, like, what I thought was cute, not name brand oriented. Yeah. And Natalie is a little bit more opposite. She's very...
She wants that label.
She wants the label. She's a little bit bougie. I'm like, whatever, you know. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm like, it's not always going to be on my dime, kid. No. Like, I don't know about that. Like, but...
Hey, she does get out here. We throw her some Gabe's old sweatpants, sweatshirt.
She doesn't mind that because she knows that you're going to be, you know, if you're going on the four-wheeler and you're going through some of the, like, wooded areas, bugs and twigs and leaves and everything might scrape you. So she doesn't mind that. Plus, she also likes, think like the boys' sweatpants and stuff like that. 'Cause they're,
Yeah.
you know, they're comfier.
More comfier, yeah. And they have bigger pockets, which pisses me off.
It does. I don't like that, but I did.
It really bothers me.
We talked about how I went to the Eras tour a little bit last week, which was amazing. I'm still working on my like blog article about that. I'm sorry. I'm procrastinating over here. I've been trying to get that put out, but I did buy some merch, obviously. I had bought it actually before the concert because I didn't want to wait in the line. Full transparency, but long story short, she has a pair of sweatpants. Highly recommend, even if you don't like Taylor Swift. Like, the quality they're like the thicker ones.
Yeah.
Really like that. They have a back pocket and 2 side pockets, and they're deep. And
that is nice.
Very nice.
Did I tell you that we're taking Gabe to his first concert in August?
You had mentioned that. So, who are you seeing?
Motley Crue, Def Leppard, and Alice Cooper. And it's going to be Gabe's first concert.
That is an interesting. Was that at his request?
Yes. Well, he's grown up on the music. Like if we get in the car, like I've told you previously, like I like a lot of different types of music, but one of the main types is typically like the old rock. And so the old classic rock, like that, like he loves it. So he's grown up on it. But I wanted him to have a good concert story, like a good first concert story. Not like, I mean, I went to the NSYNC concert and literally was at the very top row and sat with my back against the wall.
Oh, some nosebleeds.
Hey, they were free. My friend had won them on like one of the radio stations, and they, like, her parents, I think, got her like actual tickets though already. So they were like, well, you can just take friends. So we got free tickets. So I'm not complaining about it. But it's just, I'm like, well, your first concert needs to be something like that you really enjoy, that you really like. Now it's just something that you like fell into. And he's like, I want to go to that one. So I think he'll have fun.
Who was your first concert?
NSYNC.
NSYNC, you said?
Yeah.
So my first concert, I think, was Maya. Do you remember Maya?
That might have been Ian's first concert too.
No, I take that back.
I think
no, it was Maya. No, my first official, like, so it was kind of like a last minute decision. I went to the state fair.
Yeah.
And she was here, and my friend's mom took us. And I just remember watching her, and I thought that was really cool, like, because I'd never been to a concert.
Yeah.
Well, the first one I actually wanted to go to, like, not that I didn't want to see Maya, I just didn't know I wanted to see Maya. But the first like concert was Avril Lavigne, actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I saw her when like her, you know, OG album. Like,
what's your favorite concert you've ever been to? Not to go too far off subject, but
Taylor. I mean, honestly.
See, mine was Rob Zombie. To take him, I did kind of forewarn him a little. I don't know. It's probably pretty inappropriate for me to say, but say it anyways. I did warn him that he may see some old lady breasts. I'm just trying to prepare him because I don't know who's going to be at that concert, but in my imagination, there's going to be a lot of us there, and it's going to range in age, and I know I've got some family members who used to party back in the day when this music came out, so I'm sure some of them will show up. Not my family, but
are you sure?
Fans. You never know.
You're like, it could be.
You never know.
Well, and you know, that's awesome. Like, I actually took Natalie to her first concert when I was 8 months pregnant with this one. We saw Kane Brown. You knew this.
Yep.
And it was Nat's first concert. She loves Kane Brown. I actually saw him years ago before he got real big, and I'm actually thankful for that. He performed at some bar out in like Jackson, Ohio, or something like that. Nice. And it was like a little bit of a drive, but it was worth it. Yeah. So we drove out. We saw him, and I actually took my friend Marie. Really know who he was, you know what I mean? Like I said, he wasn't that big at the time. but we watched him perform, and then now it's like he's huge. So when Nat said she wanted to go see him in concert, I bought them for her birthday last year.
Oh.
And of course, he didn't perform until it was March of this year.
Yeah, super pregnant.
So I was super pregnant, and my mom was supposed to take her, but you know, I told myself that for her birthday I wanted to get really good seats, and I thought that I'd get her floor seats, which, you know what, to the average person it might be a great investment to have floor seats. I will say I don't recommend as a short person.
Right.
I am 5'3" maybe on a good day, and we were lucky that we were close to the aisle, because I don't think had it not been for that, we would have been able to see anything. So I will say that was one downfall, but fortunately, you know, it was really about her, because I had to sit a majority of the time. I was swelling really bad from being pregnant. I was just happy to kind of be in that moment with her, though, because although, like, I was kind of sad that my mom wasn't able to take her, I had a blast with her, and it was kind of like, but basically it was that last, like, hurrah before, you know, I had her. Yeah. Because I think it was only, like, 2 or 3 weeks later that I had Amelia, but it was also, like, not only, like, sweet to have that moment with Nat, but also to be, like, it's my first time also having both of them at the concert together. Even though she'll never, like, she won't know. But
she's still been. It counts.
I have pictures to prove it, so.
It counts.
Pretty cool. But, you know, and then speaking of, like, different firsts and stuff, you know, my sister actually invited Nat on a trip to Florida. Kind of like, you know, I'm not opposed to not having any sort of experience, right? But with that, I'm a little leery of her going out of state without me.
Yeah, I understand that completely.
So for Natalie, it's also like, well, how much, if I allow her to go, what does that entail? Like, how much do you need? Because it's not free, and even if they were willing to cover that expense, I feel like
you still need some money.
Yeah, like, she still needs some money, like, but I don't know, that fear of Natalie going out of state without me and relying on somebody else.
I definitely understand that. The boys are actually, they're going to Tennessee to see their uncle at the end of the month. And so, which is great, and I love it, and they love it, and they have so many memories just from going, because they go almost every summer to see him. So, and they always do something fun that they couldn't do here. Last year, I got a call from my brother-in-law, and it was, hey, don't kill us, but I stole your kids, and we went and, boys, tell her what we did. And so I hear the boys in the background, they're like, we went cliff jumping.
Oh my goodness.
But he is, like, certified and experienced on the river and everything, so I do trust him with them, but it is an experience for them. But I feel, like, nervous every time they go, and it's not because I worry about them, it's just I know that I'm not there.
Well, and boys are such thrill seekers, so much more than girls typically are.
Well, it doesn't help that, like, they get that from Ian and myself, so, and their uncle.
See, Natalie thinks that she's a thrill junkie until it comes time to, like, actually do the thrill. Like, you were there at Kings Island.
Yeah, I took her up on that slingshot.
We had taken the kids to Kings Island, and the little slingshot, it's basically, for those of you who don't know, it's like this harness that you, like, lay Superman, right?
Yeah.
And it fits, what, 3 people? Or 4?
Yeah, it's 3. I think it's just 3.
So, and basically it takes you up, I don't know how many feet off the ground, but then there's a rip cord, you rip it, and then you swing down, back and forth until you stop, basically. And she's all hyped up until it came go time, and then it was like, no, on second
She
thought.
She got a little scared, like, as they, like, strapped us into the harness, and, like, they're like, okay, now we're going to remove the floor, and you're going to fall forward, and I felt her grasp on my arm get a little tighter than...
See, Jen does not do well with heights and free falling, and I'm sorry, but that is my worst fear. So I was like, no, thank you. Y'all can experience that. Now, roller coasters are a little bit different. You're strapped in a little bit. Like, you're not necessarily... I mean, you're free falling in a sense, but not... I don't know. But, you know, the older I get...
My body can't handle it anymore.
It cannot
That's what
handle
we were just talking about is...
Right.
And the older I get, like, a roller coaster is going to just mess me up afterwards.
Well,
I'm going to have vertigo. My neck's going to hurt for 3 days.
I'm going to have whiplash.
Every muscle is going to hurt. But
just take ibuprofen.
It'll be
You're
worth
fine.
it.
Drink lots of water. Stay hydrated.
It's worth it. That thrill is worth it. And that's where my kids get it from. Right there.
Well, you know, and we were just talking about, I mean, going to Disney in the future again. And, I mean, her at this age, it's like, she's not going to have any interest in, like, she'll sleep most of the time. It's going to be mainly just to go as a family.
She just chills.
Yeah. I mean, this is pretty much how she usually is for those of you who have watched the podcast previously. She's pretty content. The only time she really gets upset is when she's hungry or she has learned how to fight sleep. And I'm sure as we progress, like, in her milestones, it's going to be tricky because teething and stuff is right on the horizon. I was reading up about the 4-month regression in sleep. And I'm just like...
Yeah, that's coming.
And I don't know what to expect because some people are like, oh, you know, I had no problems. Other people are like, oh, yeah, that is a real thing.
Yeah.
Just like the terrible twos. And I'm like, honestly, everybody told me two. Two's going to be awful.
3.
Threes were so much.
3 was bad.
I don't know. That's when that really came into her own. She realized she had an attitude, and from there, it's been.
That's when they turn into little mini us. You know that, right? 3 is like, oh, we're like our mom.
There are times where she says things, and I'm just like, I want to be mad, but I can't because that is totally me. Yeah. Although the other day she said something, and her facial expression and everything, I was like, you are your father's daughter. Go. Like, no.
Oh.
There was just, you know, those moments in our kids where we see ourselves or our partners, and with Nat, it's very, you know, apparent that she takes after me in a lot of ways. Yeah. But the other day when she said that, and the older she gets, I see a lot more of her dad in her.
Yeah. See, I think Gabe for me, like, he's the one that's most like Ian, but he's very empathetic, and I think he gets that from me. Like, we're both kind of like that empathic, like, we can feel for others, and we have that emotion for others, and, you know, sensitive, and so he has a really, like, sweet-natured side as well. And then Lawson has my complete ADD all over the place. But little one-liners, too, I guess, sometimes, from his father.
Natalie is a mix. So she's very empathetic, but she's also very savage. Like, don't let her fool you. Do not get on her bad side. She's going to be one of those people, like, it's going to be... I don't know, Natalie,
she's strong-willed.
She is very strong-willed, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't necessarily, like, since Natalie has became a little bit older, I don't sugarcoat a lot of things for her.
Right.
I mean, for instance, when she found out that that the tooth fairy wasn't, you know, that I was the tooth fairy, she was just like, can I just give you my tooth and give you money? Like, Can I
Make
just
this
do
more
that?
efficient.
And I'm like, oh, that's cute. You think that you're still getting money for your teeth? No, just give me that. Thanks.
Right.
Like, scram. No, I'm just kidding. It was just funny, though, because she had explained to me how she figured it out. And it was basically she had, like, a couple days before Christmas went into my closet, which she wasn't supposed to be in my room at all. But she walked in, and I had this bag that had all the presents wrapped and ready to go just to be placed under the Christmas tree, because I mean, like,
Right.
anytime I had any of the presents from like me
number
and
one,
Casey,
winning. You're ahead of a lot.
Okay. It has taken me a while to get there, and anymore I'm kind of like, you know, over the years I was like, man, it's kind of been bittersweet to deal with Christmases ever since she has grown out of that stage, right? So it has its pros and its cons. A lot of the time, the cons are like, a lot of the times I like to buy her. I mean, of course, we like to buy them the fun things. We try to buy her one like expensive item and then a few things that she either needs or wants. Typically, I buy her like some of the clothes that are name brand new. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because again,
stuff she's been asking for and hasn't gotten.
Right. But at the same time, like, how, you know, now that Nat's older, like, and everything, it's kind of nice because I can take her shopping with me, like, especially during the deals, and have her pick out things that she likes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it kind of loses that surprise element on Christmas morning. It's like she unwraps it and she's like, "Thanks, Mom." Like,
And you know what's funny is, do you remember that moment for you? Because I remember it for me, like, when it went from, like, no, like, the magic of Christmas was, like, gone. I remember thinking it, like, as a young, you know, person, like...
I think that I didn't want to believe it. I was one of those kids, like, I didn't want to believe it, but I also remember, like, being that person who, you know, as a kid, you always try to catch Santa in the act, you know what I mean? Natalie was like, yeah, we don't have to keep up with this charade. Like, can you just, like, give me my money for my tooth, please and thank you.
Let's just make this a transaction.
Right. But now with the baby, I mean, obviously, right now, she's not going to care. She's not going to be able to open presents for... She might be able to next year. I mean, she'll be...
Well, she'll be able to.
Almost a year and a half next year for Christmas. This Christmas, she'll be a little too young, I think.
She'll still enjoy all the lights and everything.
Yeah, she's very attentive right now. She likes, you know, all the colors she really likes. So we've been watching Pixar movies. That's our thing right now. So with Pixar movies, like, we watched Toy Story the other day. We watched Up. She really, really liked the part where releases all the balloons and the colors light up the screen. And she just was like, you know,
liked that.
super excited. Her face lit up. It glowed. She was cooing. And it was great. And I think Natalie said that they watched, I forget what they watched today. Or no, it was yesterday. But it's been a Disney movie household.
Hey, I have a question. You just... So, what was your first concert again?
My first concert?
Yeah.
My first concert was Maya at the High State Fair.
Oh my! How old
I've
were
heard
you?
this story before.
How old were you?
Who did I hear it from? Oh, my husband.
I think middle school.
I was in middle school too, so this makes sense. I was probably in
You
7th
guys
grade,
went to the
so
same
it would have been
concert.
your 8th grade year. Does that sound about right?
Sounds about right.
See, I told you. Literally,
went,
when you were talking earlier, I was like, this sounds familiar.
That is so weird. I was at the same concert with your husband before
you knew my husband before I did.
It's okay. She was at the same concert as my dad and my brother. They were at Blue Oyster Cult.
Yeah. Yep.
Hey, I mean, well, so it's a small world, just a kind of a little bit off topic, but
no, because we don't do that ever.
Never. We're never. But so my friend Marie, her husband Eddie, I knew him before she did. Actually, fun fact, my first job was a waitress at a steakhouse that was here locally. And I only worked there for 3 days, but that's a completely different story for another time. But he was the cook or the chef at the steakhouse. So I met him before she ever did. And years later, they ended up getting together. And we made that correlation that we knew each other. And I was just like, such a small world.
Yes.
Like, I mean, heck, I've even ran into people, like, even out of state. I don't know if that, has that ever happened to you?
Not me personally. It happens every time we go anywhere with this man.
Really?
Every time. Like, literally, we can be in the middle of, where were we? Florida. We were Disney World, Myrtle Beach.
I feel like we always run into various people.
We didn't run into anybody in Tennessee. We made friends in Tennessee.
We did make friends in Tennessee.
I went to, so a couple years ago, actually it was when me and Casey first got together. Our first, like, out of state adventure, if you will, as a couple was to Nashville for my friend Jen's birthday. And when we went down there, I ran into one of the girls I went to high school with. And I just thought that was so random. I'm like, oh my gosh, like,
that is very random.
I saw her and a few other girls I had went to high school with, and just chit-chatted in passing, but it was just like, that's so crazy. And we've ran into people, like, even I think in Florida once, and
it's crazy. It is a small world.
it is a very small world in comparison.
I had to ask him because I knew that it, like, as soon as you said it, I was like, pretty sure.
Hey.
You guys are at the same place.
Hey. I mean, it is what it is.
We were on the left side, 6 rows back.
I don't know where we were. That was a long time ago.
He is the brain of an elephant over here. The memory just never fades for him. True story.
Let's see here.
Where were we? Because that wasn't left field.
That was not left field at all. Oh, so we were talking about how our kids are going to be going away. And you were saying, like, you're not really sure how you're going to deal, so...
Yeah, well, because, like, right now, like, especially it being summer, like, I'm home with the kids, and they're always home. So, when they leave me, it's gonna be like, I'm gonna be here alone with just my animals. Like, number one, that's a lot of chores.
Right.
Number two, I'm gonna miss them. Like, who's gonna banter with me all day and keep me company and have random dance parties and when I'm doing dishes? I have to do all that alone, and it's not as much fun. I can promise you that.
I mean...
Still will happen.
I think it's a little bit different for me because...
Just be prepared for all the phone calls because I'll just be calling you the whole time.
That's fine. I'll be available. I mean, with Natalie, though, my thing is it's like it's a little bit different for me because, you know, there for a while, like, I had to adjust with being a co-parent with her dad. Yeah. And, of course, she goes away every so often. And now that it's summer, like, she sometimes will stay over there a little bit more. Like,
right.
But at the same time, like, she just went on vacation with her dad to, you know, I think it was South Carolina, North Carolina, I don't know which, but she said that she had a blast. She shared some pictures with me.
Yeah,
and
she was telling me about it and how much fun she had.
Yeah, and that's great because, of course, I don't want to hinder her from ever having those adventures, but I'm also like,
right,
you know...
It's still you're away from your kid.
I'm away from my kid. It makes me nervous. But in the same aspect, our kids over there.
I know, we were all like...
Swimming in the pitch black.
The difference is, too, is I also have Amelia now, too.
Yeah.
So...
She'll keep you busy.
She'll keep me busy. Also, being at work has been, you know, busy as well. So that's been keeping me... preoccupied. Of course, the never-ending house chores that the house provides. I mean, and it's not even that, like, I mean, we live in our house. We're not, like, messy people. It just, things get messy quick because I mean,
we're real and we live lives and we have schedules and
we're real people. It doesn't have, we don't have like people coming in and cleaning for us. It's all done by us, by hand, with love.
Yeah.
And alcohol.
And music. And me telling my kids that they better help me.
Oh, I might have shared it. I don't remember. There was a video of somebody who, there's like stages of the mom like cleaning, and it's basically like going behind everybody else like after they've cleaned.
True.
I'm like, it's a never-ending cycle.
Then the other day I had to laugh because I went to open the microwave and I found my coffee from earlier in the microwave, and it, like, the night before I had just watched all these like TikToks of like moms forgetting their coffee and coming back to cold coffee, and I'm like, that's me, that's my life. Like, I forgot that coffee in there 3 hours ago and I heated it up twice before that.
I mean,
jeez.
we always have things on our mind. Actually, I was going to talk about, like, you know, we talked about having to plan for school supplies and wardrobes here shortly, but, like, you know, Casey saying, like, why are you even thinking about it, like, this soon? It's like, because if I don't think about it now, I won't think about it later.
Right.
Or if I do think about it later, then, I mean, I think we went school shopping probably, like, the first week of August.
Yeah.
And it was severely picked over. Like, I just feel like things, you have to buy things
They
sooner and
do.
sooner. Otherwise, they fly off shelves.
Right.
So,
Our kids probably sound like somebody's being murdered over there, but it is really good to sit here and like hear them out there just having fun and like getting along and playing and just being kids. And I just feel like I appreciate these moments because I just feel like they're coming to an end, and I know that we still have so many more years, but I think about that.
I do too. I'm like,
geez.
it's just funny, and I'm glad that our kids have like been friends as long as they have been. Like, we were actually just looking at pictures of when Nat and Gabe were like 3, maybe 4 on the swing set at your old
3.5,
house.
yeah.
Like, they're almost teenagers, so it's like,
I know.
not only is that like a resemblance of how long we've been friends as well, because I mean, I've known you since before you even had Lawson. It's just like crazy to think, like, man, and then you're gonna watch her grow up in the same aspect. And
I know.
I mean, you heard me talk for years, like, I don't know if I want another one. I don't know if I want another one. And then it's like, well, I'm having another one.
Yeah.
Like,
I was telling you from the start, I'm excited. I knew that, number one, it was another baby I get to spoil, and number two, that she's gonna grow up with all of them, like, watching over her. So I'm like, that's really special too, like, in a sense for me. I'm like, I think about all of that, like, when we're long gone one day, they all have each other.
well, and like, it's really cool. So, you know, my brother, his fiance, had their daughter, my niece,
Yeah.
5 weeks after I had her. So it's really nice too, because even if we decide not to have another one, she'll always have
Someone to grow up.
somebody to grow up with that's in the family, so it's not just her.
Same age, relatable.
Right. So,
It'll be fun.
with that being said, we appreciate you guys tuning in. As you can tell, it's kind of gotten dark on us, so we're going to have to wrap things up. But as always, we appreciate you watching, listening. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, follow. We look forward to speaking with you guys next week. See you soon.
See you soon.